ideas at the end of season 4 about what we could possibly do for season 5, and I thought it would be interesting to do an alternate reality story in which Shepard didn't make it into the Stargate program. I know the fans are going to love seeing Joe Flanagan playing a homicide detective. I think that's a lot of fun. And I personally am very excited about shooting in Las Vegas, but you know, that's why I'm doing it. We had always talked about doing a story about having a wraith on Earth, like what would happen if there was a wraith loose on Earth. And I thought it would be fun if we did an episode that kind of riffed on that. What if you were, you know, flipping channels looking for Atlantis and you thought maybe you were watching the wrong show for a little while, but yet there are our main characters. And I had never really seen a lot of the CSI franchise. I watched a bunch of those just to see what it was about, and it's extremely stylistic the way they shoot that show, and it looks amazing. It was a lot of fun to do, to kind of step outside not just the reality of Atlantis, but the style of Atlantis, to try and emulate a different way of filmmaking, and then have it slowly kind of morph into a more traditional Atlantis.
Thanks, we are shooting the motel. It is a motel that's supposed to be in Vegas. It's not the Bellagio. And this is where the Wraith has been hanging out. And our sick guy, who's been barfing in the bathroom in there, he gets exposed to some radiation. The Wraith is building a device in a trailer, and it's parked next door to this guy's room. Unfortunately, he gets sick because of it.
Well, originally we had hoped to shoot in Nevada. We had hoped to take ourselves on the road down to Vegas, and when we ultimately looked at it, we realized not only could we not afford the 4 days, but we probably couldn't afford 3. So we looked at opportunities to emulate that desert look up here, where we could take our crew and maybe get more time out of that money. So we drove out. Oliver, BC is about 2.5, 3 hours from Vancouver, and it's an interesting little pocket of territory because it's actually a desert in the middle of BC. It's the driest place in Canada, and the only place where we could even come close to getting that sort of scrub desert look that you get outside of Las Vegas.
Might have to lose the sweatshirt now. It's starting to get toasty. This is the tease of the episode in which we reveal that Shepard, in this reality, is a detective, and that he's on a case that he believes is a serial killer. And the final reveal will be looking back this way, and when you see it, there won't be a mountain there. It'll be Las Vegas. It was absolutely perfect in the morning. It was beautiful. You can actually see the sky is completely clear blue. The first shot up we did was the crane down shot over the teaser scenario. You've got an ambulance and some cop cars and stuff. And the very first shot is clear blue. So we got that shot. It was great. And about an hour later, the wind started to pick up, and it was unbelievable. It's dust. It blows up because we're in a desert, you see. So there's sand over there, and they got this thing here. I got this contraption here. This is so I can actually see what we're shooting. And in order to see it, I got to stick my face in here like this. So I look really cool doing that, don't I? Dust-proof and windproof and sunproof and cool-proof too. It's cool-proof.
The sand was just blowing in gusts. You had it in your eyes, you had it in your face. People were, pulling their hoods over their faces or wearing bandanas, and it was like we were shooting in a desert sandstorm in, God knows where. It was probably one of the toughest shooting days that I've ever experienced.
I think I have a pound of sand in this eye.
It's the sort of thing that's a lot of fun to talk about now, because it was a great, one of those great stories, great experiences, but it was not a lot of fun at the time. We had this massive explosion. I had wanted to do it early so that we had the opportunity of pushing it if weather or other circumstances had jeopardized it. The trailer, we had 2 trailers. We had a a film trailer that we could go in and out of that looked really good, and then we had one that had been cut up into small pieces and taped back together with duct tape, believe it or not, that was painted silver, and that one was rigged with explosives. Like, I don't even know, you'd have to ask Ray how many gallons of gas were in that thing.
I've done the strafing run, it's done now. Okay. The truck will be done in a matter of another 15, then I load the trailer. That'll take 40 minutes, and then we push a button. Right. And I just need to get this from you before you run away and I run away. For the strafing run, which is these guys here, and the truck and the trailer, that's a separate entity in itself. At the end of the strafing run, then the trailer goes up, then the truck goes up a beat later. How fast do you want the strafing run? It's coming from a jet pretty fast.
Right. Boom, 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 boom.
Okay.
The explosion was going to be so big that if there was any amount of wind, they were concerned about controlling debris, flaming debris, getting outside the area that we were trying to contain, but also there were power lines running down the middle of the location. Basically, they just would not have let us explode the trailer if there was any danger whatsoever of interaction with the power lines.
One of the biggest challenges in prepping that explosion was I was assisting Ray Douglas and his crew in attempting to get all the crew to a safe position. And we wanted to make sure everybody had some cover over their heads and in the back of a truck and not on any tailgates, or they were far enough away that they didn't need any cover because everybody wanted to watch.
Actually, to be honest with you, I always find these sort of things somewhat anticlimactic because there's so much buildup and so much talk about it, and then it's over in like a matter of seconds. It's just, there it is, and it looks great, and you watch it on film in slow-mo and you think, oh, that's awesome, but the actual act of filming it is incredibly quick. It's just boom, and it's over, and then everybody's, clapping and patting themselves on the back, hopefully.
Just like Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas or sex.
Yeah, we got a fire over here. Maybe someone wants to put that out. I remember hearing that on the radio. It was, because it was cardboard and stuff that was going to look like it was metal, but flying all over the place. And we kind of came out of the trucks to view the aftermath, and we saw Ray and Scott walking sort of slowly over to the burning debris, and then all of a sudden they just turned around and started walking the other way very purposely. And you don't usually see them do that. They're usually in pretty quickly, and they've got their fire extinguishers going, and we're standing there, and all of a sudden I hear over the radio that something had not gone off. One of the cans had not blown, and we were not that far from that area, and just boom, this another secondary huge explosion went off, and I was standing right beside Joe Flanagan, and a piece of burning debris went, probably 50 feet over our heads, but went flying across the entire clearing. It was pretty scary. We could have easily been in the line of fire. You can't really replicate that with visual effects. It's you use visual effects in those sequences to do things like put your characters, close to the explosion. I think there's a great shot where it looks like Joe Flanagan is, sitting up against a car as the trailer goes up. And, obviously he wasn't there. We shot that separately, so it could really be him and not put a stuntman in jeopardy, and then you marry the two together.
That day we got some great shots with Joe Flanagan diving over the Camaro and Swiss cheesing that up with squibs and just all the stuff blowing up around him. And the actors, Neil and Joe, just were fantastic, just were game for anything. We put a gun in their hand, they'd do whatever they were told, blow up their bodies, no problem. They're just like so into making this episode look fantastic.
It's a big episode, and yet it's not a big sci-fi episode. I mean, it was quite expensive, but yet, the cost came from things like going on location.
After fighting the wind and sand, we headed to Las Vegas.
We're at the Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada.
We were very, very fortunate to hook up with Planet Hollywood, who was very, very cooperative and was enthusiastic about us doing pretty much everything that we really wanted to do.
The fact that it has this mezzanine level, a lot of the hotels don't have this high a ceiling in the casino, and it's one of the things that makes it so film friendly, is because you can set your lights and you have this tremendous view out over the balcony. A lot of times in casinos, the ceilings are 12-foot ceilings, so the lights are right there on top of you, and there's really nowhere to put your camera to look down on it, or just see the whole spread as you can from there.
You really don't have a lot of control. It's one of those situations where, you know, it's a lot of good things and a lot of bad things can happen. The good things are that you end up with a ton of production value. It looks like we had 1 million extras that day. We were only controlling the immediate traffic around the Wraith, and you know, the rest was the public. And you know, you really hope you don't get a couple of you know, goofs waving at the camera or jumping up and down and or interfering with you in some way that negatively affects your shot.
Well, for me, it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of people who were corralling, you know, the public, trying to make sure that they didn't walk through our shot or wave at us. And, you know, hey, what you doing? You making a TV show here? It's not that complicated a sequence. We're basically just running our Wraith through the casino. This is a little music montage as he makes his way through the hotel and up to the suite where he's going to be playing the card game. But we really wanted to feature kind of the flavor of Vegas and being inside a casino, and you know, we went to all the trouble to come down here, so we wanted to actually, you know, shoot some stuff on the floor.
It was important to me to get shots of the Wraith walking down the Las Vegas Strip and seeing him interact with crowds. And those things kind of, to me, help to sell the slightly ridiculous scenario of having a Wraith participating in a high-stakes poker game. The poker game is made up of quite a colorful, you know, group of characters. Down at one end is Charlie Cohen, who is the executive VP of MGM. He's a huge fan of the show, and you know, is greatly responsible for the fact that we were shooting in Vegas. Next to him is Joel Goldsmith, who writes our music. He's been a composer for as long as Stargate has been on the air. And then there's 2 professional players, and then you know, we had a couple of the gentlemen, Steve Strippa and Frank Vincent, who you may recognize from The Sopranos. They were great guys, super professional. They were you know, really you know, excited to be there. And when you're writing a scene like that, and you know that you've got a couple of guys like that coming in for a cameo, you know, you're kind of torn. On the one hand, you know, you want that scene to be worthy of their talents, but on the other hand, it is just a cameo, so you know, you want that show to almost to be all about them. It's kind of funny. I had written a different scene and I wasn't that happy with it, and heard Joe Flanagan talking about a situation in which his nanny's finger had actually been bitten off by one of her dogs. They had all been at an outdoor campfire at Joe's place, and the dogs got into a bit of a fight, and she had reached in to try and break it up, and one of the dogs actually bit the tip of her finger off. And he told that whole story, and I thought, you know, that is just too good to be true. You just can't make stuff like that up. And so I rewrote the scene and put that story. I embellished it to a certain extent, but that's the dialogue that Frank and Steve actually deliver in the show.
You got it in the fridge.
And where's the housekeeper?
She's at the hospital. She lost a ton of blood.
Really? Don't they need the finger?
Nah, it's too late to reattach it. She'll be all right.
Yeah, we've stopped there. We've cut.
You look good when you smile.
That's good.
The more you want to smile.
Gentlemen,
Yeah, we were down in a hallway of a service hallway of a working casino hotel. So there were still staff walking through. It was one of the first things we had to do stunt-wise down in Vegas. It was a little more chaotic working down there. There's always like somebody walking in the way or something, and I just had to be more sort of on top of things. Just people that you're used to working with know your style. They know when you're rehearsing. They know when you're not. And all the shooting crew came from LA, so there was only a couple of us from Vancouver here that were actually had been on Stargate Atlantis from the beginning. When you're down there and you don't know anybody, and you're like, okay, well, I want to meet. Oh, hold on. Who's the props guy? Somebody? I hired all the stuntmen from Los Angeles, and every one of them I had worked with before on some movie. So I knew that I was covered no matter what, but there's that variable of working with new people that is always a challenge.
I was really set on trying to do an episode that had real elements in it. In the case of the stunt, I wanted the Wraith to jump off of the casino building.
All I had to go on when we were prepping this high fall was drawings, and they weren't to scale, and photographs. I mean, it's very important when you're choosing an airbag for a high fall. You have to know how high the high fall is, because airbags are constructed specifically for certain heights. Also, I had to know what the width of the alley was that we were working in to place the airbag, because the airbag may not have fit in the alley, and it may not have been a deep enough alley to jump off the roof with.
What we have behind me right here is an airbag made for high falls. This one here is rated up to 80 feet. It takes about 45 minutes to get this rolled out and blown up and ready to jump in. We've just finished, as you can see down here, just finished marking it. I've had my stunt performer, Andy Dillon, up at the top there, spotting exactly where he wants the bag, and we've shuffled it around to his specs and basically ready to go.
What I'm hoping is that he's going to jump off and look as cool as possible. All of the cool stuff that makes action characters look good is the stunt guys. And the stunt guy is the one that's putting his life on the line to make the character in the shot look as cool as possible. So, I mean, these guys are invaluable. I'm in continual awe of what they've done. They have a completely different relationship to pain than most people, and they put their bodies on the line.
It was a pretty high jump. But I also feel very confident in James Bamford, our stunt coordinator. So at that point, I kind of say, this is the scenario I want to see happen, and I rely on his expertise and professionalism to make sure it's gonna look good, but also that it's gonna come off in a safe way.
What Andy needed to know to perform this particular high fall was what I needed from him in the air.
What Andy's about to perform is called a style of high fall. It's called a face-off. So what he does is he steps off, straight off the side of the building, 1 foot off, as if he were running from the other end of the roof. He steps off and falls down face first. He'll end up flattening out and come down like this sort of trajectory, stomach first, like so. And about 10 feet from the bag, he'll spin himself like so and end up on his back.
We got him up on the roof, and he looked at it. We threw a couple rehearsal water bottles wrapped in towels over so he could see the trajectory of the fall. And once he saw that and he confirmed that the trajectory was fine for him, then he was ready to go. It was unbelievable, like unbelievably skillful. Landed perfectly, dead center, no problems, no issues. It was all hugs, and everybody was happy, and then we went on to the next scene.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
Safety is the key when jumping off a roof.
I always feel like, the amount of work is never really reflected in the final episode. You watch it, it's 42 minutes, and people kind of like it, and then they forget about it. For the most part, it was really, really easy and super cool as far as being able to make it look like we were in Las Vegas and on the Strip and in the casino.